Councilman Rappel, I'm gonna log off, log back in. Maybe they'll get my video to work. So I'll be
Sure.
back in 2 seconds.
You got it. All right. As soon as Councilman Shade comes back in, we'll get started.
Cutting into your time performance, Mr.
Oh
Chairman.
man, I know. This is. I don't think I'm going to beat my record from last meeting. That might stand forever. That was pretty.
He's
Was pretty
probably doing
unbelievable.
that. He's probably doing that deliberately, so you can't beat your message. Can you imagine that in this
He's.
season?
Oh man, he's taking the air out of the football. He's running out the clock. All right.
Well, I'm back, but my video's still not working. Sorry.
Oh well. Well, we all remember what you look like. And I see the
Yep.
mayor's just joined. Um, Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, I'd like to call to order the City of Charleston Committee on Real Estate meeting. It is December 18th, 2023. And to get things started, I would ask Councilmember Greg to please lead us in an invocation.
Let's just do a quick moment of silence, please. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Council Member. First item up on the agenda is approval of the November 27, 2023 minutes. Can I entertain a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. It appears that the first two items on our agenda pertain to 36 Cooper Street. Can I entertain a motion that we take these two together?
So moved.
Second.
All right, moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it, and I see Ms. Shaw Johnson is here, and if you could please give us a little background on these two items for 36 Cooper, we would appreciate it.
Certainly. So you all approved this for us approximately a month ago. As we went to conduct the closing, we saw a few items within the agreements that we thought appropriate to change. Our attorneys call them Scrivener's errors, but they essentially provide you all greater clarity on what we need to do and what we are doing in relation to these documents. And so as you can see, there are three items in particular related or considered a First Amendment to the development agreement. And so literally what you see before you is changes in the verbiage. There is also one change in relation to the amount of funding that the developer, in this case is Palmetto Cap, would receive. And so that is on section 5, page 8. And then again, looking at section 5 on page 9, discussing when the money should be secured by the developer from the city of Charleston. And so I would remind us, this is a 4-unit rental development that will be constructed at 36 Cooper Street. The affordability covenants go to perpetuity. We have folks that will rent these units, earning from 60% to 80% of the area median income. And we were essentially wanting to make sure that these agreements were properly aligned. And so the second agreement, which is our transfer agreement, we are simply amending or requesting an amendment of the date for the closing to the end of this month, such that we could get all of those other items aligned properly and stated properly within the agreement. We have Elizabeth Moore with Schumacher, who's been working with us on the call as well, should you all desire further clarity on that.
I move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Can I entertain a second?
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify support by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. Ms. Shaw Johnson, thank you so much, and
Thank
for
you, sir.
the city's partner in this. Appreciate it as well, and hope to have these 4 new rental units on the market here soon. Thanks for all y'all do. Item C is an approval for the rental of pool space on specified days and
Move
times
for approval,
for
Mr.
the
Chairman.
SM.
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Do we have anybody from staff here to give us a little more on this one?
Chairman Appellate,
This one's
Lori
pretty
Yorba. I'm here. This is a rental agreement that would allow our city smart swim team to use the St. Andrews Family Fitness Center pool. We have finally gotten out of WL Stevens, and so we'll be using that. We'll be renting that pool space starting in January until the end of March, and still using our space at MLK. But that will allow all of our 300 plus children to continue training with our swim team.
Got it. Got it. Thank you very much, Ms. Yarborough. We've got a motion seconded on the floor.
Mr. Chairman, let me ask
uh,
a question. Ms. Yarborough, when you say we've finally gotten out of W.L. Stevens, share a little bit more on that. What does that mean?
Well,
You know-
I'm gonna say that we have continued to use WL Stevens up through last week. So we have kept the water heater going. There's no air heater now that the sides are down, but we have
Right.
continued to use that pool and a little longer than we thought we could, but we've had good weather and we've been able to keep the water temperatures good and our staff bundled up. So we are going to start renting the pool space and give us the winter months over there in St. Andrews.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good deal. All right. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify support by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. Next item up is an authorization for the mayor to execute a license agreement. And if I'm not mistaken, this is for Seawee over at Brittle Bank Park to facilitate cell phone communications. I think we considered
that
something very
last
similar and
year.
made some.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did it last year, and
Yeah, I move for approval.
my
Mr.
memories. Yeah, we got a motion on the floor. Can I entertain a second?
Second.
All right, moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify support by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We did all the hard work on that one last year. The final item before our annexations has to do with the IAAM, and this is for a lease and operating agreement over at 14 Wharfside Street. And who do we have from staff to? Oh, Ms. Screech.
I've got this one, Chairman. Thank you. And I did want to add
Great.
that we have Rob Werman, who represents the International African American Museum, on the Zoom with us as well. So to sort of give you a quick summary of this agreement, it supplements and amends the existing lease between the city and the International African American Museum, including a number of other agreements that currently exist between the city, the museum, and the museum's support organization, which are included as exhibits to the lease and operating agreement. So under this configuration and the amendment, the city essentially leases the museum to the IM, which assigned its rights to the ISO, and the ISO has in turn subleased it back to the IM. This is in connection with their new market tax credits. The lease provides for a 50-year term with an option to renew for an additional 50 years at $1 per year. And it contains standard provisions regarding programming authority, maintenance, insurance, funding requests, dispute resolution, and the like. And I'm happy to answer any specific questions about the agreement.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Creech. Can I entertain a motion?
So move, Mr. Chairman. When we get a second.
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. And Councilman Waring.
I just wanted to thank the mayor, our legal team, certainly Mr. Werman, for getting it to this point, this agreement to this point. Believe me, a ton of work went into this, and I don't want it to be just taken for granted. I mean, people went above and beyond, and thank you, Ms. Creech, for all your efforts to bring this, frankly, partnership together, and you too, Mr. Werman. And Ms. Copeland's not on here, but I don't think she is. But praises and salutations to all, because I mean, this is an institution we're putting together. It's just not a building, frankly. And we did something similar years ago with the Gear Yard, which is paying great benefits, not only to the city, but the region. So, and certainly this institution will do that also. So thank you again for all your efforts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any other comments, questions from the committee? Mr. Mayor.
So, and thank Councilmember Waring as well. He played a role in this coming to fruition, but I did want to note that I attended most of the board meeting of the IM this past Friday, and their executive committee and board also approved the lease, just so everybody knows it's been approved on their side as well. Isn't that right, Rob?
That's correct, Mayor Tecklenburg. It's also been approved, I'll just add, by the ISO, which would be the third party to the agreement. And there's been some other approvals that have had to go up the chain regarding those new market tax credits. So we are ready to go on this. And I would echo a lot of what's been said. Very appreciative of everyone on council and of staff, specifically Ms. Creech, who's certainly done a lot of work on this. And I think we are certainly glad to help formalize and build a structure for that partnership to last for a long time.
Thank you, sir.
You know, one other thing, Mr. Chairman, if you allow, there's one other person I know you would agree with this, Mr. Bob Brennan, who's a member of the IM's executive committee board, head of finance, all of that. I mean, he has just been integral. We could not have done the new markets tax credits but for his involvement. That is an intricate piece of tax legislation there, but I think it paid benefits pretty close to like $4 million to the IM. But again, he's not on this call, but very integral for all of this to be put together. So want to give him thanks and benefits in his abstention.
Well, I appreciate those words, Councilman Waring, and I must have missed that day in law school where new market tax credits and third-party lease assignments were covered, because I have no idea what y'all are talking about, but it all makes sense. And we've got some great minds looking at this. And also shout out to Rob, who also is a county council member. And there's also great government collaboration here on IAM, as well as many other issues. So I know that a lot of smart people have put their time and energy and effort into this. This is not something that just comes out of nowhere. And the IAM had a wonderful opening this summer. And if you haven't been there yet, you should go. It's truly incredible. And like Councilmember Waring said, it's not for, this is not a short-term vision. This is a long-term institution. And we want to make sure we've got all the pieces in place to give it all the success that it deserves. So any further comments or questions from the committee? Let's vote it. All in favor, please signify support by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. Thank you, Rob, and thanks everybody else. And we'll see you next time. All right, we've got 3 annexations up. I see Molly has turned her screen on. Do you want to maybe give us a quick rundown on these 3?
Sure. For the first one, 616 and 622 Wapu Road. This is the old Limehouse Farm location. It's 2 parcels. This is technically in the Ardmore subdivision. And so we're excited to have this one into the city. Next 2 are going to be running together at the same time concurrently. 1136 Beast Ferry Road will go with 1154 Beast Ferry Road. They're contiguous. So we're annexing these. They're in line with the comprehensive plan and are currently vacant residential. And Christopher's on if you have any other questions.
All right. Well, thank you, Molly. Can I entertain a motion to take these all up together, or we can proceed as the committee deems best?
I think, Mr. Chairman, you may want to take these separately. Items 1 first, and then 2 and 3 maybe go together.
Okay. Well, I'll entertain a motion first for the Limehouse property over on Wapu Road.
I move for approval.
Second.
All right, moved and properly seconded. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Councilman Shade.
So what is going there? This is a pretty land, almost 5 acres. Is this going to be for commercial or residential purposes?
So, Councilmember Shade, so the Limehouse property, they're looking at primarily a commercial development. There potentially could be residential. They are requesting general business zoning. It might be that at the rear there, in line with Plan West Ashley, that there might be a little bit of residential, but right now they're looking at primarily commercial.
Got it. Thank you for responding to that. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
That's all the questions.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to say I welcome this property into the city for us to have jurisdiction and our normal development of requirements and processes. And this, if y'all remember, just last meeting, maybe it was 2 meetings ago, approved that swap of property with the Limehouses for the corner to align the bikeway more towards Savannah Highway and creates a more cohesive development parcel for them. And when I met with the Limehouses, I would say at this point over the years, I always expressed an interest to them that if we were ever able to work all this out, that we would welcome them to come into the city and be a part of the city of Charleston, have the property come into the city. So this is kind of a result of those discussions with the family that actually started under Mayor Riley before I became mayor. So to me, it's good to see this taking the step and getting a step closer to making the bikeway and the greenway have a better connection and having a meaningful development here on this site that 4.57 acres along with the other adjacent piece is one of the few somewhat sizable sites to develop West Ashley. Thank you.
Absolutely. I think this is one of the most important intersections in West Ashley, and if I may be so bold, could probably use a little improvement. So this is a welcome change, and very excited about the future for this area for all the reasons that have been mentioned. Anybody else have any questions or comments on the Wapu annexation? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify support by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. Final 2 items are related. Perhaps we should consider a motion to take both of these together.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify support by saying aye.
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 All right. Okay, can I entertain a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Any questions, discussion about
I
this
got it.
property over on Bees Ferry? Councilman Waring.
Christopher, what's gonna be the zoning on this once annexed into Charleston that's being requested?
Sure. So what's been discussed is that this would be primarily a townhouse development. It's directly across the street from a very large multifamily development that's under construction in Charleston County. And our comprehensive plan, it's in our what we call our neighborhood edge designation, which allows for 6 to 20 units an acre. So it's in line with our comprehensive plan, but the request that will go forward when they get to planning commission next month would be for limited business zoning for the property.
The zoning in the county in the county now is for how many units per acre?
R4, residential 4. It's basically 4 units an acre. It's been used as a kind of horse farm area, riding stables and paddocks and things like that. And this is one that we worked at the request of council members to get a annexation of a strip of land from Charleston water system to the southwest so that it could become contiguous. And now that's done, and the folks are looking to move forward on it.
Yeah, actually, I was involved with that strip. Okay. So basically, we go at roughly 40 units to potentially 200 units?
Potentially. I mean, they've got to have stormwater. They've got to, you know, deal with site constraints. I don't know if they're going to end up with 200 units, but theoretically, on the surface.
Yeah, I follow you. I follow you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Councilmember Gregg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Morgan, what you mentioned the an apartment development in the county. Is that the one the parcel ending in 0008? So it's directly across Bees Ferry Road?
Yes, directly across Bees Ferry Road is a very large apartment development in the county. Correct.
Okay. And how many units are they putting on that site? Do you know?
I think it's around 400. I don't have the exact number, but it's a much larger site than this one. And they're building it like 4 stories, something like that. It's behind the Publix and all that. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
So, Mr. Morgan, if I go back to you one more time, they're coming in with a request for a zoning at limited business.
Yes, sir.
And with a limited business, I want to make sure I heard this correctly in response to a question from Councilman Waring. With limited business, they can't include residential?
Yes, residential is allowed at 19.4 units an acre, as well as commercial activities. And they have discussed potentially some commercial. The vast majority of it would be this townhouse development, but they have discussed some commercial. And I believe in conversations with council member oh gosh,
Brady.
Brady, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Councilmember Brady, that it was discussed that there might be the need to have limited business so that some commercial could be on it. And so that's why they've requested that to be what they move forward with for their zoning.
So this is a huge, they don't come in and they maintain the existing zoning from the county. They're limited to 4 units an acre.
That's correct. But again, very large developments the county has approved have happened along Bees Ferry Road. Just up the street is at Blue Water and Bees Ferry, about a quarter mile up the street, was a development that was also online to be annexed in the city. We did not annex it at council request. And so it was developed for townhouses in Charleston County. We had no stormwater approvals. We had no design review approvals. So, you know, if the interest is having control over things, and annexation is about the only way to do it, because I think change is coming to that area, particularly on the remaining highland that exists there, and this is highland.
Yeah,
Councilman,
this is sort of the Hobson's choice on this stuff as to which way do you go. If you annex it, you got maybe more control. If you don't annex it, they're somewhat stuck with this 4 units per acre until they get county to maybe change their mind and give them a variance. Thanks.
I saw that
Councilmember
Molly
Gregg-
had her hand up.
Oh,
yeah.
yes. Councilmember Gregg asked about the number of units at the apartments across the street in the county, and it's 394.
Could I ask a follow-up question there, Mr. Chairman?
I'll allow it.
You all heart today must be Christmas coming around the corner.
Ms. Connor,
I wish.
Mr. Morgan, what was that parcel zoned, the large apartment complex? Was that previously zoned at the R4, or what was that zoned in the county before I mean, surely that was upzoned at some point, right?
Yeah, and I don't have the full zoning history on that one because it's not our jurisdiction. I just know that, they got those apartments approved to go on the site. That's all I know.
Because if you look at it on the aerial photos, it's still a forested area. So I assume it was a lower density zoning at some point.
Yeah, it's been clear cut as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I've got a question for Christopher. Is there a residential only district that would support 19.4 units per acre that
Yes, sir.
doesn't contain
DR1 would, and that was actually listed on their initial paperwork, but after their discussion with Councilmember Brady, it was changed to limited business. And I think it's because maybe there was some discussions. I haven't been part of those discussions, but maybe there was some discussion about some limited amount of commercial on the site, because they did say that they were looking at the townhouses, that there could be the potential for a little bit of commercial there, not the majority. The majority would be townhouses. And the thing about the townhouses here is this is the kind of missing middle type of thing that all our plans talk about is so desperately needed in our community, and doesn't get built very often in Charleston. So yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up. I spoke with some of the folks that are involved in this project, and they were talking about how these townhome units, they're pegging the market price in the $400,000 range, which is exactly what you just said, Christopher. This is the missing middle we talk about so often, and it's great when you can see affordable housing provided through the private sector. And I think if we're ever going to meet our very lofty goals of providing affordable housing, it's going to take the public and the private sectors both working together to make that happen. So this could be a very good example of that, particularly if we can get some commercial development looped in there as well. I didn't get the latest on that, but I'll talk to Carl about it and see what's going on. Maybe they promised him a Chipotle or something and got him swept off his feet. I want to hear the backstory. But in any event, does anybody have any other questions, comments? Good. All right. Call for a vote. All in favor of the 2 Bu's Ferry annexations, please signify support by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm voting
Nay.
against,
Hearing
I'm
none.
voting against this one.
2. Me. Nay.
Who knows?
Okay.
Nay.
Oh, maybe it didn't get approved then. Should we do a roll call? Or
Yeah, do a roll call. So.
all right. Let's start with Mr. Mayor.
Aye.
Councilman Gregg.
Aye.
Councilman Waring.
Nay.
Councilman Shade.
Nay.
Councilman Appel. Yes. I think that's 3-2.
Right.
All right. Okay. Well, anything else for the good of the order? That concludes our agenda. Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Chairman, if it please the committee, I'd like to just make a brief update about the property we've discussed last couple of months over nearby at this piece over at Verdier Boulevard. Is that acceptable to the chair and committee?
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead.
So I had mentioned I would try to bring back to this committee, real estate committee, a revised purchase and sale agreement, and I wanted to let everyone know that I tried. I met with the owners, Mr. Bush and Mr. Phillips. I was not able to get agreement from them to modify the agreement, and so I wanted to give you a report. The alternate action, I think, accomplishes the same thing, and that is just to maintain the city's desire for what was designated as track B on the property. That's the portion closest to Verdier Boulevard, to be used for commercial purposes. And that's what the PUD that we passed allows. Unlike other properties the city has bought, we would not look to be involved in that commercial development, but just to sell the property off. In fact, I took the liberty to invite Seth Clark, who's on the call here. He's our city's designated realtor. He worked with Bridge Commercial, and they did provide the city a broker price opinion on what they would market the property for. This is track B, that we designated for the commercial side. And it's just in line with what we had thought, that it's about half of the acreage and it would be worth about half of the value of the property. And it's not a formal appraisal, but oftentimes realtors use the same concept of comparative sales. And in his opinion, broker's opinion, the commercial property was worth somewhere in the range of 2.4 to 2.8 million, which is a little more than half of what we're paying for the property. So anyway, I just thought it was fair for me to report back to the committee and council that we were not able to amend the purchase and sale agreement, but in fact, you can accomplish the same goal just by selling off the commercial portion of it.
Got it. Thank you for that. All right. Any further comments from the committee before we adjourn? All right. Hearing none, I will see some of y'all. Oh, Councilman Waring.
Yeah, one good news. I just got an email actually from Bob Brennan that the I Am building was presented for Project of the Year Award finalist from AN, which is Architects newspaper, the 2023 awards. Wow. Best of Design Awards featured for the International African American Museum. So another piece of good.
That.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But anyway.
Awesome.
Very good.
All right. See you guys, some of you all in about an hour or so.
Yes, sir.
That's right. And we'll see the rest tomorrow night. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.